152, 1D of the Constitution. I further note that the Article 152 of the Constitution does not prescribe the designation of the title or functions to be conferred to each cabinet secretary. Consequently, it's within the powers of the President under Article 132 of the Constitution, as read with Section 10(1) of the National Government and Coordination Act No. 1 of 2013, to designate the title and assign functions to a cabinet secretary. To this end, the designation of a prime cabinet secretary is not inconsistent with any provision of the law or the Constitution, and therefore the designation is properly, legally, and constitutionally grounded. Thank you. Having said that, I'm sure the Honorable Wandai, you are now at peace.
I am certainly not at peace, but I will reserve my comments to a later time.
Excellent.
In the course of these proceedings, yes.
Wonderful. We'll now start. The Honorable I now introduce to you the first nominee to appear before the committee, the Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, who is sitting before you. We'll introduce the members of the vetting committee, starting with the chairman, who is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula. I'll now invite the members to introduce themselves, starting with the leadership, sitting on my left.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Kimani Shongwa, Member of Parliament for Kikuyu, and the Leader of Majority.
My name is Opio Wandai, MP for Ugunja. Thank you.
My name is Honorable Junet Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Suna East and Minority Whip.
Good morning, members. My name is Owen Baya, Member of Parliament for Kilifi North and Deputy Leader of Majority.
Good morning. My name is Robert Mbui, Member of Parliament for Kadhiani and the Deputy Leader of the Minority Party.
Mheshimiwa Mukami.
Good morning. My name is Rehab Mukami, County MP, Nyeri.
Good morning. My name is Ferdinand Wanyonyi, Member of Parliament, Kwanza.
Good morning. George Gitonga Murugara, MP Tharaka.
Morning, Chair. Honorable David Kosing, MP Poko South.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. My name is Abdul Rahim Dawood, MP for North Imenti, Meru County.
Good morning. My name is Honorable Mishi Mboko, MP Likoni Constituency, a member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Nelson Arab Koech, Member of Parliament, Belgut Constituency.
Morning, Chair. My name is Caleb Amisi, MP Saboti.
Morning, Dido Raso, MP Saku.
Morning, Abdi Shurie, MP Balambala.
Good morning, Mary Emase Otucho, MP Tesosau.
Good morning, MP Matungulu, Stephen Mule, a member of this committee.
Good morning, I'm Gikaria David, a Member of Parliament, Nakuru Town East Constituency.
Good morning, Naisula Lesuda, Member of Parliament, Samburu West Constituency.
Thank you. We have our team from the Secretariat led by the Clerk of the National Assembly. I'll invite her to introduce her team.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Sarah Kyoko, the Acting Clerk of the National Assembly. I am accompanied by other members of staff led by Mrs. Florence Abonyo, who is a director in the Directorate of Appropriation, Audit, Appropriation and other select committees, and the Deputy Director for Legal Services, Mr. Michael Karuru, and we have other members of staff with us. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now invite the nominee to take the oath that will be administered by one of our officers. It's either the Quran, the Bible, or affirmation.
I, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, do hereby solemnly affirm that I shall testify on all matters in question and tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
We'll now invite the nominee to present his documents to the Secretariat. There's a list that was sent out, and I can guide you, the Honorable Mudavadi. The first document is compliance with tax obligations from KRA. The second document is clearance with Higher Education Loans Board, that you don't owe the public any money in that institution. The third document is clearance with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, ESCC. The fourth document is Certificate of Good Conduct. You've given them?
Yes, I've given her.
Okay.
She says she'll...
A fifth is a question to you. Have you ever been charged and convicted in a court of law for a criminal offense?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Third, have you ever been adversely mentioned in an investigative report of a parliamentary committee or commission, and if yes, do you have any details?
To the best of my knowledge, nothing in the last few years.
Are you a dual citizen of Kenya and any other country?
No, I'm a Kenyan citizen.
Okay. Now I will invite you to make a brief self-introduction and make a brief statement of yourself in not more than 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and also Chairman of the committee, and all honorable members of this distinguished committee. I am Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. On a lighter note, I'm usually called Mudavadi. I have been a member of parliament in this country for 3 terms. I served as member of Sabatia constituency, and I entered parliament in 1989. Subsequently, I've also held various public positions. I have served as a Minister for Supplies and Marketing, Minister for Finance, Minister for Agriculture, Minister for Transport and Communications. I have also served as Minister for Local Government and Deputy Prime Minister. I have also served a short stint as a Vice President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I've also been a member of leading political parties in this country. I was a member of KANU. I served as chairman of Kakamega branch and Vihiga. I have also been a member of the ODM party, where I was up to the level of deputy party leader. And at the same time, I have served as vice chair. Coalition. That is a profile, Mr. Speaker. But I think just coming to the issues at hand, first of all, I just want to say through you that I am honored and privileged to appear before this committee so that we can talk about the kind of people and the kind of vision that is required to be able to make Kenya a better place and to improve on the governance and democratic processes of our country. Mr. Chairman, I will also, through this committee, extend my appreciation to the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for having seen it fit to nominate me to this position of Prime Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Speaker, we have just come out of an election as a nation, and the country is facing several challenges. So I take this initial appearance as being very critical so that the country can exit from the election mode and start looking at serious service delivery to the people of Kenya. Mr. Chairman, appearing before this committee is significant because it underpins the new constitution we have, and it also underpins the importance that Parliament plays and is going to play in the governance of this country and in shaping the lives of the people of Kenya. So I am honored and I am ready to respond to any questions that may arise. But I would also want at this early stage, Mr. Chairman, to also raise a few issues that may be of my personal integrity. One of the issues that has constantly and regularly been brought up is the issue of the golden bag. Mr. Speaker, I want to state here that at the age of 33, I was appointed to the Ministry of Finance. That is in 1993. That is when the golden bag saga had been in existence and was coming to its full-blown situation. This was really a scheme where the intention of government in terms of export compensation scheme went sour and it was misused, and it cost the country a lot of damage and expenses. Mr. Speaker, I took up the role of dismantling the network of the golden bag hydra. There are so many issues to this, and subsequently, Mr. Speaker, there was even a judicial commission of inquiry under the government of President Mwai Kibaki when he was elected. This commission of inquiry was conducted over a 2-year period. And Mr. Speaker, I just wish to draw members, and I'll be availing the document here, the report of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, specifically to page 220. There's a paragraph there that is very distinct about me, I think paragraph 589, which clearly brings out the details and exonerates me and even lauds me for having been the individual that stood firm and scuttled and dismantled the golden bag scam. That is one issue that I would like to bring up front. The other issue that I would like to bring up front, Mr. Speaker, Chairman, is that when I was in the Ministry of Local Government, there was also an issue about the cemetery scam. This is an issue that entailed overpricing of land by the City Council of Nairobi at that time. There were allegations that through issues on me.
The order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Chairman, I totally agree with the honourable member on the trajectory, but I wanted to indulge the speaker, the chairman, that at this session, at this point, the minutes you gave is just for self-explanatory introduction.
Yes.
We will come to those issues in due course, Your Excellency. I mean, Mr. Speaker, in due course.
Let him wind up on that. Yes.
Thank you. I'll wind up. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I just want to state that that matter, again, was dealt with. It went through the courts, and after investigations by the relevant agencies, those who were culpable were tried and convicted, and I was not one of them. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to state that it is important that these issues hopefully will come to rest as the details come out, and I want to assure the members of this committee that it is my intention to work very closely and cooperate with the National Assembly, with the legislature, in ensuring that we have a better country. Thank you.
Thank you for sticking to your 10 minutes. You have actually taken less. A few questions before we open you to members of the committee. Have you at any time held any position in a political party?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have.
Which is?
I have, the most recent one was being party leader of the Amani National Congress.
Are you still the leader?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Have you ever been dismissed from office for any conflict between personal interest and public or official duties?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Have you ever been adversely associated with practices that depict bias, favoritism, or nepotism in the discharge of public duties?
No.
Would you tell this committee your financial net worth?
Mr. Speaker, yes, I would comment on that. If I take my investments in shares in various, in some companies, and also the properties that I own, I would put my net worth at about 4 billion shillings.
4 billion. What are your current and anticipated sources of income?
Mr. Speaker, rental income, dividends, where I have the shareholdings, and also interests, and of course other expenses that come from the farm.
Honourable members of the committee, I'll now open the hearings to the committee. Basic rules that we agreed on. Questions must carry decorum. No personal issues, no parochial issues. And the nominee, you answer all the questions through the chair, so that you don't say, I'm answering Honorable Wandai or Honorable Junet. All questions are asked collectively as a committee through the chair. I'll give the first shot to the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi in the...
As we proceed, you keep your eye on that clock. When it hits 0, our time will be up.
Thank you, Honorable.
10 minutes to 0, we will give the nominee an opportunity to make some closing remarks, some closing statements.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Musalia, on your page 4 of the document that you submitted on self-declaration, you indicate on potential conflict of interest that you have none. And the question that follows after that is for you to explain how you would resolve any potential conflict of interest. And looking at your net worth and the schedule that you have submitted, I see you have interest in an aircraft, in exclusive air services. You have property on Riverside. I believe this is what you're getting rental income from, and other office space that you have also indicated, 3 properties, offices owned by Triton Limited. Supposing the government of Kenya that if you are approved, you'll be serving under, list any of these properties, or one of the government institutions wanted to use this aircraft that you own, would that portend a potential conflict of interest, and how then would you deal with that?
Mr. Chairman, clearly there are procedures. Sorry. Mr. Chairman, clearly there are procedures that are in law that would make sure that there is a public disclosure or full disclosure under such circumstances if they did arise. But Mr. Speaker, I would also want to state that there are processes that would have to be followed legally, and I would not in any way interfere with such a process if it were to arise. Secondly, I would not use my position in public to try and interfere with that. I would really stick to the issues required in terms of integrity as required by law and the Constitution, so that any conflict that would arise would then not have to arise.
Honorable Wandai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have got 2 questions in quick succession. One, the Honorable Mudavadi, and following, or notwithstanding the ruling by the Speaker a while ago, you obviously know that in the coalition agreement that you entered into within the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, you did appreciate the fact that the position to which you have been nominated did not exist, or does not exist even as we speak. And that's why in that agreement there was a commitment that within 30 days a legislation shall be introduced in Parliament to provide greater legal clarity on the position, roles and functions of Prime Cabinet Secretary. That is at Article 21K of that agreement. I happen to have gone through it in the House after being tabled by my friend Honorable Kimani Chungwa. It goes ahead to say that the legislation to be introduced shall amend the National Government Coordination Act to include the office of Prime Cabinet Secretary as proposed herein to the existing structures under the aforesaid Act. To your understanding, doesn't this really confirm that without such legislation having been introduced, now more than 30 days since the election, the position to which you are being proposed or recommended or nominated is anchored on quicksand, constitutionally speaking? That is one. 2, you were asked a while back if you have been mentioned in any corruption case or scandal, and I listened to your answers. But let me jog your memory, Honorable Mudavadi. On the civil case number 280 of 2007, that is the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission versus Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. In this matter, you are being accused of having fraudulently acquired property in Woodley Estate within Nairobi, property that belonged to the public, a property that was under the care of the Nairobi County Council then. This property is reference number LR number 209-13-539/129. What do you have to say about this? And if indeed it is true that you participated in what Kenyans would love to call grabbing, of public property, public land. How does that sit with the requirements under Chapter 6 of the Constitution? That if by any chance you are approved, you will be swearing to protect and adhere to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with that very point. This is the Woodley Estate. Woodley Estate is a property that belongs to the county government of Nairobi. And I want to put it very clearly here that I stayed in Woodley and our family has always had that premises. Now I want to put it on record that to this day we pay rent to the county government of Nairobi. At no time has that property ever been transferred. I want to put it on record here that the ethics or the Kenya anti-corruption body at that time went on a tangent that they had not verified the facts. I ended up also seeking legal redress for defamation on their part and for them having given out misleading information. Mr. Speaker and Mr. Chairman, as we speak today, the same property belongs to the county government of Nairobi and we pay rent. I would not be paying rent for a property that is personally mine. And therefore I was not involved in any land grabbing whatsoever. The records are there, and I can request that even this committee can go further and seek whatever evidence they wish from the county government of Nairobi on that particular issue. And hopefully it will also be put to rest, because it was, in my view, a witch hunt at that time. Mr. Chairman, I also want to say that it is on the coalition agreement. It is true that the founding members of Kenya Kwanza, that is Amani National Congress, a party that I belong to, but I'm no longer the party leader, the Ford Kenya, Mr. Chairman, you happen to be a member of that party, and of course the UDA party, headed by the President of the Republic of Kenya. We did enter into a coalition agreement which we submitted to the Register of Political Parties, and it is a valid legal coalition document. Mr. Speaker, when we were forming government, we were alive to the fact that there are issues that can be done and executed by the President through the executive order. And these are now being manifested through Executive Order number 1. Now, the streamlining and clarity that we spoke about would be those that would help in refining the mechanisms of coordination of government, but they do not in any way negate the fact that the President constitutionally and in accordance with the Coalition Act has the powers to set up his government and assign functions, and this is under Section 132 of the Constitution, assign functions to his cabinet secretaries or to other persons in government in a constitutional manner to assist him in the delivery of services and leading the country. So I believe that we have not breached any law, and when we talked about looking at the Coordination Act was in the context of strengthening that Coordination Act and not necessarily saying that it is an impediment.
Honorable Naisula.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable Musalia, you have been a fierce critic of the previous regime and especially on matters corruption. And if the recent events by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to withdraw cases of corruption are anything to go by, how do you intend to fight corruption in public service when it is clear that there is no political will to fight it? And what are your views on the withdrawal of these corruption cases, and why at this particular time?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Before you answer,
yes.
Honourable members, we did agree as a matter of procedure that you lift your tag and not your hand. So you wait when the member has finished, the nominee has finished, then you lift your tag. It makes it easier for the media and for us here. I think what we can do, if you have a pen and paper, Honourable Mudavadi, we can take 2, 3, 4 questions, then you can be able to answer. Okay, so raise your tags. Number 1 is Naisula. Number 2 is Robert Mbui. Number 4 is Mejaraso. Number 5 is Emase. Then after that, we'll go another round.
And we have no oversight over that office. It is independent and it makes its own decisions. So the details and circumstances of why he would drop cases, I think that office would be best suited to respond to it directly. But going forward, I think one of the things that we want to point out is that in the fight against corruption, I think we should move away from any attempt to weaponize or to try and use such battles against corruption for political purposes. So, Mr. Chairman, I am so refrained to comment in detail because, as I said, the DPP office would be best suited to respond to this. But I think going into the future, it should be clear that whenever we are dealing with corruption, we must avoid anything that is a witch hunt, anything that is politically instigated, and we must be sticklers of the law. And going forward, I think what is important is through Parliament to see how independent institutions within the justice system and of course those that handle other matters are properly